Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Maddie B. Doing a road show today. Hopefully it turns out well. Matt, you've been having camp, correct?
It is camp season.
So how's that been
in
going?
The gym. It's been hot. It's actually been extremely hot here, considering I complained about the rain. It was like they waited for football season, and the gods are like, and now you will roast.
So you haven't had rain?
We had piles of rain all through summer that was like affecting baseball games and some odd and end stuff in the summer. But now that we're in camp, we had heat acclimation last week, and we are now into pads and getting ready for our scrimmage on Saturday. But it's been piping hot.
Oh, wow, because we've had the opposite. It just started pouring all week, so we've just been having rain. So you haven't lucked out in that regard. I always like practicing in the rain better than the heat, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, some of those rain practices are fun, especially for the kids. I just feel like we're so crunched trying to get a lot of stuff installed, because this season's team, we have a lot of younger players that we're calling on to see some significant time. And you know how it goes when you have a young roster. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it, and you almost feel like, do we have too much, and what can we scale back to try to make sure they understand?
Yeah, that's true. So you guys have like camp at the school the whole time, right? The kids don't leave? You still do that or no?
Right. Yep. The kids moved in Sunday, and for our high school, it's kind of cool because we have like our summer festival at the park like that weekend. So it's like you kind of get your last fill of junk food and seeing everyone, and then you pack up and head to camp, and you're living in the gym for a week or 2 days. I was actually laughing about it because the kids now only have to really worry about 2 practices a day, where in the past we had 3 a days, and trying to get through 3 practices a day with all the conditioning and all the other stuff is just crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I'm surprised that you guys still have the camp at school. I feel like a lot of teams probably got away with that kind of stuff.
You know, there's a lot of schools that definitely shy away from it. There's pros and cons, but for a small school and for as long as we've been doing it, there's a really good buy-in. I don't know that you could do it at every school, but I do like the aspects that the kids don't have their phones. They turn them in, and they have to spend time with their teammates. And I think that that's a really good thing, that they have that downtime and that bonding to be around each other without the pressure of social media and phones and all the other nonsense.
Yeah, the phone staying, I wouldn't mind if people did that whenever you're just like hanging out. People agree to put phones away instead of just sitting on them. Because at that point, it's like, why are we even hanging out? We could just be sitting at home. But let's see what we got going on here this week. We had some crazy stuff. John Gruden and the NFL had their lawsuit come out, where I think it's in the state of Nevada. It went to the Supreme Court. So now it's going to be waiting to see what it can happen on like their discovery phase or whatever, to see if the NFL kind of colluded with the media to kind of shift that narrative from, hey, we need to get this guy out of coaching because of his contract or whatever. And so they made him seem like the bad guy. I honestly thought it was going to be tossed. So the fact that it's out there is getting kind of crazy. Because he's really trying to push probably to get back into coaching. I mean, that's really his thing. And to tie it in with our ongoing Connor Stalions thing, he was on Twitter again, calling out the media for kind of the same thing, going after him when now the media is asking because Oklahoma's starting quarterback, very similar to Connor Stalions, had a Venmo issue where it might have been showing him tied in with sports gambling. So now he's calling for, like, I guess the media is now calling for like a pause and saying like, well, hold on, let's wait till we get all the facts. But the media definitely didn't wait for that for Connor Stalions, and they didn't wait for that for Gruden either. Once those emails leaked or whatever, that was it. He was basically going to get fired. So I'm waiting to see what they do in that court case, Matt. Do you think your boy Gruden's going to get out, or do you think he's done coaching?
I think not only is he going to win his case, but I think that they're going to really make money. He's going to come out making money hand over fist and end up somewhere. I don't know if he's going to go a Belichick route and go the college, because they can pay players now. So he has the personality that and the draw from Barstool that he could potentially go just about anywhere and have the resources available to build the program the way he wants to. I think that may be the avenue he goes, because he'll have his pick of places to go and the freedom to do things his way, you know.
But he has to really want to get back into coaching. And if the NFL, you think he's going to go to college or the NFL?
I want to say he would probably, depending on how the suit goes. I mean, he may get a good bit of money from the settlement, because I would be shocked if they go through all this and he doesn't walk away with a pile of money. I think the NFL wants to just settle, because if they go through the discovery, that's going to be a PR nightmare for them. They'll lose even more money.
Yeah, I think he'd be done coaching though there, right? You don't call out the NFL. I mean, they don't have to hire you. He could say like they're colluding against him, but like Kaepernick was never able to prove that. That's a hard thing to prove. I think he'd get his money if he takes the buyout. It's kind of like the handshake that like, you're done coaching here. And then he would have to go to college, which I wouldn't mind seeing him at a place like NC State to see what would happen. Because like Will Wade has done well trying to get resources together on the basketball side of things. And he had looked at Tennessee was where the groomers started. So he's been looking down here in the pseudo South before, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's going to be colleges that would be more than happy to take him on. And I think college right now seems to be a better fit. I mean, I think there were probably different options for Belichick because of the circles that he knows within the NFL. And he opted for going the route of college.
And that's the one thing too, where he wasn't really winning. So him going to college, he had a chance to really prove himself and get on top. And we'll wait and see what happens this year with that. But Gruden could do the same thing. I mean, obviously with the suit, he wants his money, but it feels like he really wants to at least get back into coaching, I would think. I mean, maybe you're right. He just wants to stick with his Barstool thing, and we don't really see him on the field anymore. But
I mean, all things considered, he walks away with a huge chunk of cash. He may just say, screw it, and just enjoy the rest of his career. You know, just hosting his quarterback shows and doing all that other stuff.
Yeah, but some of those guys, like, they need to be competitive. That's why, like with Urban Meyer, is he good on just being on TV? I mean, there's rumors of him being interested. I mean, you keep hearing about the Nick Saban thing where he's saying that if some of these NIL laws are passed, he'd be willing to come back. Like, how would that be for Alabama? They don't want him to go somewhere else and be like a spectacle like Belichick. So would they just fire DeBoer? Like, how do you do How do you do that? Like, well, what's the case for that, right? They don't want him coaching at Texas, bro. Or A&M. That's where he'd end up, like Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. But I think that just goes to show you that just because you have, I mean, I'm sure the Washington Redskins or the now Commanders thought that when they hired Vince Lombardi and he didn't bring a Super Bowl championship to Washington. I mean, just because you have that pedigree in one place doesn't necessarily translate that it's going to be well received everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And that, I mean, college is like a whole nother ball game too. Like if you're trying to get into it, he's kind of living off his name right now. He would be negative recruited hard, right? That's like the Harbaugh thing. After all the scandals, whether it's true or not, he's just meeting with COVID or recruits during COVID dead period. Not a big deal. Whether the science thing gets thrown out or they get hammered, like that show Cause is pretty much him saying like, I don't want to deal with this. I'll stick in the NFL. I don't have to deal with it. You're having guys like, if the NFL is not taking you, you're going down to a place where if you don't fit in, they're going to hammer you. Like a lot of the NFL guys, Herm Edwards got targeted, right? Harbaugh got targeted. So it's not like you can't tell me that the other schools aren't doing the same stuff or even just getting scrutinized to the level that a couple NFL guys coming down there, and it's almost like some people at the NCAA, they have a bone to pick with these NFL guys coming down. Because it doesn't happen too often, and guys coming from the NFL to college haven't been that successful. So if we see an investigation into Belichick, then we'll know it's like a petty NFL thing and not really them calling out a certain coach, I think. Right? I don't think Herm Edwards was really like, they were saying he was like off the rails and he had a rogue staffer, right? That's kind of like what they kind of targeted Harbaugh with. Like, we know he's following the rules, but that rogue staffer, we can really pin a program with that kind of stuff. And to me, that's just outrageous, right? So, I mean, Belichick already has his off-the-field issues. So I'm sure they're zeroing in on him right now. If he somehow wins the ACC, you'll see the red flags come up and they're like, nope, can't have it. Let's see what else. What was the other NFL thing? Oh, the preseason games. A guy gets injured, right? They decide to stop the entire game and just hang out. Why even have the game? Right?
Well, and it was most like it was partway through. Like it was in the fourth quarter, and then they were just like, "Oh yeah, this injury's bad," and then like ran the clock out. And I thought that's kind of a ballsy thing to like. I understand it was a bad injury, and they're showing solidarity, but you're also charging people to pay admission for that game, and now you're just watching them stand.
Not
there.
even charging them, dude. They force people to pay for preseason tickets if you're a season ticket holder, right?
Yeah.
It's like beyond just charging them. And a lot of families, the preseason games are cheaper. So even like as a kid, before school started, it's hard to like, get out there. That's kind of the game that I remember us going to a lot because it was like low stakes. You could tailgate easier. Wasn't as packed, right? So I know like that's usually where like it was easier just for the families to take people to those early, especially the first one. Because if you're playing football, it's even harder when youth football's out there. And so you go to the very first preseason game as a family, a guy gets hurt, and they honor him by just hanging out, right? Not like, hey, we're going to play harder for you, buddy. No, they're like, no, we're not going to play at all. Just to show you that your injury meant nothing to us. We didn't need to be playing. You didn't need to get hurt. I didn't actually see the hit. Did he have his head down? Is that what happened?
I didn't see the hit. I just, when I saw that, they were like, yeah, and then we just hung out. I was like,
see,
like, no, that's.
I was watching on and off, and then they were like, they censored it. It was really bad. So then I'm like, okay, well, I can easily find this somewhere, right? And then I couldn't find it, and they were taking it down. And I'm like, how bad could it be? Normally, remember that one game? Was it the Florida State game where that guy, Jordan Travis, broke his leg? They showed it like 3 different angles.
Yeah.
And they're like, right here, you can see the bone popping out. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And And it cracked me up because that was one of those ones where like there were other injuries that year, and everyone was being real quick to pull that aside and be like, "Oh no, that's not a big deal." But then they showed that on the CW for like an hour. I was like, "What are you doing? It's a major issue. Like, do not show that on basic cable."
Yeah, see, now I'm looking to see if they have the play. All right, here it is. Now it is up because I knew it would probably be up. Yep, he dove at the legs of a guy, head down.
43-46.
Pretty sure that's... Do they have a slow-mo of this? I mean, that was a horrible move by him. But again, it's the same thing where it's like, are you going to penalize the guy for trying to make a play? He took a knee to the side of the head. So it wasn't really a straight down, like he was really trying to, he kind of kept his head up, but he dove like a little bit too early, if that makes sense. Like, you know how a guy jumps for a ball? He got down, the guy like kind of stuttered step because there was another defender, so he probably was expecting him to run right into him, and the way it happened, he kind of got hit in the head. But keep your feet, right?
Yeah.
Don't go diving because I mean, honestly, that could have been a launch. His head was kind of up, but not really. And so you take a big hit like that, and it's just like what was it, Hamlin? Who's the guy that had like the heart issue during COVID?
Hamlin. Yeah, DeMar Hamlin.
Like, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, awful. These guys could die. It's like, yeah, they could die at any play. That's like what the game is. People know. But I don't know. I'm with you. You pay to see a product, and it's like, oh, we're not just going to stand here? And everyone was like, class act. What a class act. It wouldn't have been a class act to the families that wasted like a family of 4 spends a minimum of at least $100 there, probably more like $500.
I thought, that could have been a show of solidarity for a play, or if you have both teams that come out, like when there's a play left at the end of the game, and you're just like, we're all coming out together, like both teams are mutually agreeing, like we're just doing this, and you move it along. Like I can kind of see it at that point, but when you're charging people and forcing people to pay for these tickets, it's ridiculous that you're then in that other spot. You're putting them in a bad spot.
I know, and that's the worst part, because you are telling people, hey, our game's dangerous. We are taking care of the players, but you're here for the game. You had to sit for 12 minutes or something? Like the entire quarter. It wasn't like they refunded the fans. Like I've seen, heck, I've talked about it on the podcast years ago. Like you at a concert, it gets rained out. They always do try to do some type of partial refund. You're not getting your money back, but you didn't get what you paid for, especially if a headliner gets booted. That's kind of like here. It's like the reverse, because the best players had already played in a preseason game. You're seeing a reverse concert. It'd almost be like if the concert was delayed and they just cut it off. That's kind of what happened. They're like, hey, you know what? You don't need to see these guys, right? You guys go stand out there instead. And then I'm sure the concessions people, after I would have saw that, I would have been just pissed and getting out of there. But again, you can't even, you're wasting so much money. I guess it would be like a rain out in baseball, but they usually make those up, or at least try to give you the doubleheader tickets the next time, right? They just want you back, especially the Pirates when no one's there. They really want you to get back there. But I think those were the big NFL things. Is there any other NFL things you want to talk about?
Steelers had their first preseason game.
Yeah. Did Rodgers even play? I missed the beginning.
No.
It was just Rudolph, right?
Yeah.
He played pretty well from what I saw.
Yeah, I thought they did what we needed them to do. They had so many cuts that they needed to make to try to get closer to that 53. I didn't really see anyone in particular particular standing out one way or another, but it was nice to see him on. It was crazy that they had that Jacksonville's kicker had nailed one from like 60 or 70 yards.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Did you see my boy, the Don, break off like a 70-yard run, then they called it back on some fake holding? But he's going to be a guy that I think sticks around, dude. I mean, I know it was preseason, but Breece Hall did not look good to the point where I think I have my keeper on him. And now I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I can take him. Right? Which, we brought up phones, people being on their phones. Is it harder? Like, to me, it feels like it's harder to, like, schedule a fantasy draft this year. Like, people just aren't answering. I'm like, yo, what time works good? People don't answer. And then they're like, are you scheduling around me? It's like, you didn't post one comment. How am I scheduling around you? How am I supposed to know your schedule? Did you share me a calendar? So I ended up just picking what the most people responded, because there was normally I like to do like a poll as the commish. Like, I get a couple of dates and times that work well for most people, and then we vote on it. And I've done that for years now, like 4 or 5 years in a row, and it's worked. There's no controversy. This year, it was like almost unanimous, other than people throwing out weird times like 11 a.m. And I'm like, I'm not waking up at 11 a.m. to do a draft. Are you serious? I don't know what other people think, but I would rather had it later, but I'm okay with 1 o'clock or whatever it is. I'm good with that. That way, if you want to do something during the day, you can do it. Hopefully we get people on. I'm going to try to do a stream. Maybe I'll record it depending on who's on and do a little mini podcast or something. Which, we'll see.
And the later you have it, the more likely people are going to be in a bad state.
Yeah, and every time we have it later, we always get messages about like people falling asleep, or like, oh hey, I changed my mind and we're going out. And I'm like, every time I feel like we've had it at 4, people leave like halfway through the draft to go out to like the bar at like 6 o'clock or whatever. And then you're just sitting there auto drafting. They're like, well, I got the one guy I wanted. Now my team will win 3 games when that guy gets hurt, and the rest of my team is auto drafted. But we'll see what happens. I don't want to give away too many of my picks because I know people are listening to the show, and they try to undermine me. But I would like to get some more Michigan guys. I'm hoping Donovan Edwards really steps up and makes it. I can get him for like $1. He's fast. He can hit home runs. He catches the ball out of the backfield. As a third down back, dude, that's what you want. A guy that can catch and move, right? So I don't know what the Jets' situation is yet at quarterback or whatever they're going to do, because they were saying Fields is good now. I think we already touched on that a couple weeks ago when we thought he might be out for longer. But he has to check down. Check down to the dawn, let him run, get a few touchdowns, and that'd be a steal in the late rounds.
Yeah.
They're saying like Quinn Ewers looked bad, and the preseason NCAA poll came out, and it's like Texas #1 for the first time ever in the preseason. Penn State was 2 votes behind? Like, so close, dude, to having the most #1 votes. And I don't trust either of their coaches. If you had to bet your house in a game, even rosters, James Franklin versus Sarkisian, who would you take?
I'm going Sarkisian.
Why, bro? He's been in a blue blood like his entire life as a head coach, and he stinks. He has like 1 conference title, and that was in the Big 12. Never won the Pac-12. Hasn't won the SEC. I mean, Franklin has one Big Ten?
I just feel like
he's like the same, dude. It's like a mirror image. Franklin has 1 Big Ten that I can remember. And it was the year they got crushed by Michigan, like 40 to whatever. 40-3, kick that field goal. I don't even know.
It's just like he's just an average coach. Like, he's going to lose. Franklin loses 1 or 2 games a year that he has no business losing.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. So I saw a recent report where in the last couple years, he's really only lost to teams that had better talent. Like he's lost to Ohio State, he's lost to Michigan. He really hasn't lost to anybody else. I mean, Oregon last year. And then Notre Dame? Yeah, in that bowl game. Which if you look at the recruiting rankings, I think all of his losses have been to a team that's slightly better, at least slightly better recruiting-wise than what he has on a roster. This year is his Michigan 2023. A lot of key guys came back, including the quarterback. A lot of the teams, I mean, Texas has an unknown quarterback. Ohio State also received picks. They have an unknown quarterback, and he hasn't even separated himself in the quarterback battle where I don't even know if they decided a starting quarterback yet. I mean, I don't really follow them that close in the offseason.
But I would say with Penn State, like this is where the jury's really going to be out on Franklin. Like if he doesn't really blow some teams out this year, I think that's where it's going to sit. Because in college football right now, if you have one of the top tier quarterbacks, you should be competing for the national championship.
Oh, 100%. That's why last year it should have been like close. I saw a lot of people knocking where Michigan was ranked. But if you bring in the number one quarterback, you have a puncher's chance. Like even some people ranked Clemson number one. And I mean, in reality, if you're looking at returning quarterbacks, it's between him and Penn State? I said Ohio State's new, Oregon's new. Georgia's quarterback looked like trash in their bowl game, like when he came in, right? Got throttled by Notre Dame. That doesn't instill confidence. So Alabama has a new guy. He's hyped up like Michigan's guy, though. And I think they're starting the freshmen. So Michigan's probably going to start the freshmen. You have two freshmen playing at two of the top programs. It's really Clemson and Penn State returning production at quarterback. And I mean, Clemson's guy has looked rough, so has Penn State's Alar. It just comes down to, can they go? The big question mark, Penn State had like no weapons on offense. They got some transfers at wide receiver, and one of those Big Ten dudes, I forget, I sent it to you, was like, this might be the most talented Big Ten team he's ever seen. And I was thinking, dude, that can't really be true. Like, have you seen those Ohio State guys get drafted? Like, heck, that one year Michigan had like 13 guys drafted or whatever. I would be surprised if Penn State had that many.
But for what Penn State does with their... And I feel like within that Pennsylvania area, they're pulling the guys that they want. There's no, like, when you're in a recruiting hotbed area and you're getting the talent that you want, the results should be more evident on the field, and I just don't see it from them.
That's because you're not pro Paterno, bro. If you would admit that Paterno was the greatest coach of all time, then you would have more leeway towards Penn State. And they're doing things the right way.
Well, clearly they weren't, so I guess we'll never know.
We'll see. I mean, this year, if he doesn't win it this year, at least the Big Ten or compete. I mean, it's hard now, though. Like, Ohio State finished 4th in the Big Ten last year, and they won the national championship. So if Penn State does something similar, where they choke and they go on a run and win the national championship, you're looking at a new era, where people in the SEC are saying, like, this is the year SEC's back. A lot of people are pinning their hopes on Texas. Arch Manning couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers hasn't been lighting the world on fire. Is that a coaching mistake last year? Or what, is Arch just not that good? I mean, I saw him on a couple of preseason Heisman lists, and it's like, we don't know anything about him. And he's been injured. So, like, Texas could have an injury and be eliminated. Because, like I said, I was surprised that Texas didn't have as many returning guys as what I thought. Penn State, I think in terms of return and production, is up there with the tops. And, like I said, their transfer class is pretty good at wide receiver, which is what they needed. That was their weakness. But they're always good at just throwing jump balls. It's kind of good as long as you have some receivers with size that can catch the ball, fitting into the style James Franklin likes, where it's like, all right, we'll give our guy a chance. And I think that's why they beat up on so many teams that don't have as much talent because it's hard to beat that every so often. I'm surprised Ohio State doesn't do it. It seemed like after they lost to Michigan last year, they opened it up and started to just let Jeremiah Smith do his thing. And it's like, did Ryan Day learn from that? And then this year they come in, are they going to be conservative again where they're not using their weapons? I don't know. I mean, he could be lighting it up and then tighten up against Michigan again, and then who knows? Like, it might just be a psyche thing. It's hard to explain for some of these guys. James Franklin does the same thing. Get into a big game, he turtles it up until that Wisconsin Big Ten championship game when they were down, and he had to open it up. Right? Can't get embarrassed. So it's almost like these guys need to just let loose, and maybe it's the players where they're not fully trusting them. But this year, and I hate talking about like Penn State having a good year, but we could see a Big Ten three-peat. 3 different teams too, which is always the knock on the Big Ten, where it was always like, well, it's always Ohio State that's up there and they keep choking, so the Big Ten sucks. And now we could see 3 different teams, and that's not even counting like Oregon, because Oregon could very well hit it out of the park and win a national championship too. They've been knocking on the door for how long? A decade now? I don't know if Dan Lanning is going to be the guy, but at some point, with as much money as they're throwing around NIL, they have to get lucky. Who knows? Georgia keeps having off the field issues though. And I saw like some weird article where they were like talking about the worst scandals of like college football, and they had like Harbaugh's Cheeseburger Gate on there, and I thought, you have that on there, but you don't have the Georgia like death accidents. Like, to me, that's a car accident where your staffer's getting killed. That's more of a controversy than meeting with a dude for a hamburger and then not remembering the receipt, right? Like, I don't care what way you spin it. Same with like, did you see the LSU where they put out that one video, and it was like the scout or whatever in that tower where Brian Kelly had that guy that died at Notre Dame, and then they immediately took the video down and then edited that part out. And I thought, because it was like making sure you get to work or whatever, and it's like, dude, how out of touch do you have to be to like not remember? Like, if your program's connected to the death of someone, you don't forget that.
Oh yeah, I accidentally killed someone.
Oh yeah, that guy did die.
Making him climb scaffolding.
I shouldn't have signed off on that video. What was I thinking? Oh man, right? Like, insane. And then it's like, I don't understand it. Does like Georgia? Do they encourage it? Like, I don't understand how. Like, does Kirby Smart just at one point be like, yo, if you guys have any speeding like traffic things, like, you're off the team? Like, I don't. That would be the easy way to fix it, right? But by not doing that, it seems like the culture is prevailing, and I'm sure other schools have programs too. But there's been no consequences there for even recruits signing with the team getting into trouble, right? I forget who it was. One of their recruits signing this year. I don't know if he signed yet. I don't think it's a freshman coming in. I think it would be a freshman next year. Was involved in like a street race shooting thing, and it's like, Georgia commit? Are you serious? You can't do something that's not controversial enough for you? They have like Reggie Bush on there as like a black mark on Pete Carroll. It's like, all right, give me a break. Going after all these NFL guys, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Herm Edwards. Give me a break, dude. Right? They didn't go after Lovie Smith, though. I don't know. What other NFL guys went down? I have to be missing some, right? Charlie Weiss? That didn't work out. But let's see.
Right.
NC State.
Well, he had an okay run at Notre Dame, but then definitely didn't pan out at Kansas.
Yeah, it didn't pan out. Speaking of college, and since I brought up NC State earlier, their AD came out and hinted that they're looking around, and at one of the meetings they talked about 2030 being the date for like the implosion of the ACC. And it's kind of crazy because I complained about the NFL Network ESPN thing, and I had some people tell me that no, that's going to be good. You can now buy like a Fox ESPN like streaming package. And my answer to that is, are the games on there? Right? Nowhere in the press conference for anything that they're announcing are they telling you that this ESPN NFL merger thing, if they're actually going to show the games. Because right now, you get a preseason NFL Network package, you can still have blackouts to my knowledge. Because they want you to go to the game. They want you to watch dudes standing around there. Right? And when you live in a hotbed of the ACC like I do, I have 4 teams, Duke, NC State, UNC, and Wake Forest, all within a reasonable distance that they block out like what is that, like a fourth of the league almost? I think it is. So it's like insane that they're going to tell me, oh yeah, ACC, ESPN, like their deal is great. It's like, just get rid of blackouts. I see people complain that some of the Big Ten games are on Peacock. It's not blacked out. Like Peacock to me has never been blacked out, so I don't care. But if I'm playing for ESPN and then they want me to pay for cable on top of it, now this streaming package is supposed to be different, but on top of that, UFC leaves ESPN, goes to Paramount Plus. They do the one thing that shocked me, but I mean, it couldn't have been making too much money anymore, pay-per-views. They're getting rid of it, right? And the reason why I think that's huge is because unlike every other sport, UFC has no off season, right? Boxing, UFC, they have events going year round. Wrestling, ESPN kind of put their hand into the WWE basket, which they're just all fake news reporters anyway there. So it makes sense that they want a fake sport that they can control, right? They don't want UFC where people can do anything, get injured, whatever. So I'm not saying it would be enough for me to sign up for Paramount Plus or whatever. Just like Peacock, there's no reason after football season. If Michigan's only on for one game, is it worth it to pay for one game or just use that one game and go to like an alumni meetup or something? Right? It's not like the best game of the year or one of the top games where it's like must-see TV like Michigan, Penn State or something, where I'm like, all right, we got to beat these guys. I'm going to get a lot of texts. It's usually like, I think it's New Mexico State or something this year, so not worth it. But I'm not a fan of all these streaming packages. I don't want to get more streaming packages. I don't. And I don't want to pay for some Fox ESPN merger where they still might not show me the events that I want to see. Like the Fox one, are they going to show me Big Ten Network if I get that? Fox 1? Or am I only getting a curated list of events that they want me to pay for that, I mean, the top events are still going to be free over the air. That's kind of what the ABC thing was hinting at, where I think as part of like the pitch to the government or whatever, from what I've read, they're going to say that the top NFL events are going to be for free over on ABC, like Monday Night Football back on ABC. They did that a little bit last year, didn't they? Where I think a lot of them were just on ABC because people weren't paying or watching on ESPN anymore. They had to do it, right?
Well, I think they kind of gave some options too. Like there was a different stream with different people on Prime and.
Yeah, why? Like, why? You know that people aren't watching the other streams. They have to have the numbers on that. Why are you doing that? Because
but that was like for years, the running joke of having Phil Simms as your commentator. And it was like, maybe you're just like so passionately against Phil Simms that you're like, I will listen to anyone else but him.
But see, the way they count numbers now, they average it at the bar or whatever, so they could just make up and say like, well, we had 3 TVs on regular and we had 2 extra TVs on the other broadcast. Boom, instead of just counting 3 TVs or whatever, now you're getting 5. I feel like they had to be doing that to game the system. Because even like the coaches one, the one I watched, like I remember this years ago, I forget which game it was. It was like a college game or something. They had like 4 coaches sitting in chairs and the screen of the actual game was like not even a third of the screen. It's just like a little square. And I thought, this is what I'm supposed to be watching, these 4 dudes sitting here? Like that's like the premier ESPN2 broadcast. Who's watching this? No one's watching this. You'd have to be like a diehard, and it's not like they're giving you good coaching insight either. Like, yeah, that's a slant route there. Awesome, bro. Thanks. Thanks. Now I can squint and see it. Or like the ones where it's like Pat McAfee like yelling on the sideline. I get that he's popular. I always liked him. If only he could have made a field goal, they could have won West Virginia national championship. But tone it down, dude. I'm here to watch football, not watch you. Right? Do a podcast after. Get your high energy before the game. Pump people up. The pregame shows are like dead. It's like watching the news. They have to be like the demographic for those pre-NFL game like morning shows has to be 50 plus. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would say that's probably about right.
Because like just a bunch of old guys that nobody knows anymore, and Gronk randomly like talking like the most boring stories. It's like, what's Aaron Rodgers going to do today? Oh, yeah, look at him. Remember, he got hurt back in 20 whatever. Yeah, I remember that. And he won that one Super Bowl. Awesome. That's our premier matchup against the Jets. They haven't won anything. And I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, at least game day has excitement where I've had people come up and ask, like, yo, did you see game day? I've never in my entire life had anyone come up and say, did you catch that NFL today or whatever they call it? I don't even know what it's called.
But because I think they've tried to take so much of that behind the scenes stuff and like overdo it and overkill. Like we've said about like with the draft, there's so many like this player gets drafted and here's his heartbreaking story of losing his entire family. And it's like that's what they tried to push more of it. And maybe it was just to try to expand the base, but I think they lost some of the finer points of it.
You're saying for game day?
No, for NFL today.
Well, see, they don't even have, like, the NFL is so corporate and sterile that college, like, it's about the fans. They still show the fans. People have, like, funny signs. That's very easy for them to do. They don't have an NFL version of that, right? Do they want to show 2 drunk guys wrestling outside Philly Stadium, bro? Outside the link? Right? Do they still play there? I don't even know. Like they're going to be out there like just obliterated, like drunk, hammered, like doing idiotic stuff like the Bills do, right? Their fans. And so they don't want to show that part of it. So could you have like a pregame show out there? Plus those guys are old. You really could see them standing outside of Buffalo for like a big matchup in December. No, they're like doing it from LA or something. And so they don't have that fan connection where game day, you're there. If someone wants to be on game day, guess what? You can be on game day. I've been to like game day. I didn't go like up to the thing. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go get my free Domino's pizza from Dave Brandon, former Michigan AD instead for the Notre Dame game. They're giving people pizzas as they go in. So I went and did that instead of trying to get on TV. But you have the option, right? In the NFL, you really don't have that. You have whatever. You're there at the game. People are like trying to sell you stuff out there. I feel like you go to an NFL game, people are trying to sell you like insurance. And it's like they don't have that fun. Like I mean, even like I've been to like pit games or whatever where they're just having cookout, giving people free food, sponsored by like the school. Like they don't do that at the Steelers game. They'd be like, "Hey, we're having dogs over here, $15 a piece. Come get in line." These are made by the Steelers. These are the same dogs the Steelers eat. And then like some kids getting fleeced over there. That's the difference to me.
But you know what? Knock it for what it is. The NFL attracts fans, and their viewership is just out of this world.
I know, but
like
their in-game attendance cannot be as high as the SEC. I don't know what the numbers are, like average, but some of those stadiums are smaller, and their experience is stale, dude. I've been to both. I've seen like Pittsburgh go crazy in like playoffs. Like, yeah, that's fun. That's different. I've also been to some NFL games where it's just like you're dead. Like there's nothing going on. No one is cheering. You're kind of just like there. And they're like playing like the Browns or something. And it's like, oh yeah, we're going to win. There's going to be kind of back and forth. And I've seen the same thing where it's like you're at a Penn State whiteout and people are just going insane. And you can just feel the stadium shake. I've never felt the Steelers stadium, and I've been to more Steeler games than I have Penn State games. I've never felt that type of energy at a Steelers game ever. So I know people say like, well, the Chiefs games can get out of control or so-and-so games. I'm just kind of skeptical. Like put it up against a whiteout or something. Like I've been under the lights of Michigan. They say that stadium's quiet. I've heard it rocking. Like there's just a different feel when you have twice the size of crowd, right? 50,000 for some of these, or like even Jerry World's like supposed to be big and it's like what, 80 at max, maybe even 65. I don't even know. So the product on TV though, people watch because like they have superheroes like Tom Brady that play for 30 years and people want to see that. They see Mahomes, he's doing like fun stuff, and that's hard to replicate in basketball or even any other sport, I think, because Mahomes, yeah, he's on the field less, but he could get crushed. He could like throw a crazy pass, like nothing could happen. Where in basketball, it's like, oh, it feels like there's more pressure in football compared to other sports because, you know, they're not playing as many plays. Kind of like baseball. But with baseball, there's a lot more nothing happening than in football. A guy could break his neck or whatever, and then they could just stand there for the rest of the game. Baseball, like, you don't know if that's probably not going to happen. Can the guy get hit, though? Maybe. But I feel like basketball, like, a guy missed a shot, nothing matters till, like, the end of the game. So you're kind of just hanging out for 2 hours till the end. I mean, hockey could kind of be the same, but with hockey, scoring is so low that you could be at a playoff game, your team scores in the first quarter or first period, and then your heart is racing for the rest of the time thinking, oh my gosh, don't tie this up. Right? It's like a different level for live sports, I think. So I think it's harder for other sports to keep that level of excitement. I guess soccer would be the same way as hockey. The scoring is so low that it's easier to keep that intensity up. Football just lends itself to being there if you have a good game and on TV, because people are like, well, I don't want to miss this play. This could be the game-breaking play. Plus the gambling thing we brought up, like college players are getting hooked in. Ads for gambling are everywhere. Am I surprised? No. Do I hope the kid didn't gamble? Yeah, I hope so. That would be a horrible way to ruin your career. Right? Deleting your Venmo, it's like a tough thing to do, though, right? Like, they got me. Like someone throwing stuff out their window as the cops pulled him over. You're like, all right, got one. Got one. Just act normal, bro. But, I mean, if he wrote sports gambling or, like, betting in there, that's, like, insane. Unless it's, like, a joke. But even then, you got to have your head on your shoulders. I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about? I know you might have to run.
Yeah, I'm going to have to run here in a minute, but I did want to give a shout-out to the Pennsylvania girls softball team for winning over the weekend. They had a big matchup and brought home the win. A lot of local girls in the area competing, and good to see them on the big stage.
Pennsylvania girls for like what? Little League softball series or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
The only reason I know it was a thing is because there were some girls from Cambria Heights and some other local areas that were being represented on it.
I saw that one of the conspiracies from Michigan haters were saying that as soon as ESPN's done broadcasting the Little League World Series, there'll be enough of an interest that they can finally give Michigan the hammer. There'll be no competing stories. Because, like, yeah, you forget people might get distracted by Little League World Series, Matt, to not have their football news. Like, Harbaugh? Oh, better wait. Better wait for the calendar to be empty, dude. But yeah, I don't have anything else. Anything else before we go?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know, and we will see you next week.